Assassination.
Guys, welcome to the Roundtable Podcast, guys.
Right,
We're here again live.
yes, that's
in,
right.
in living color. Still trying to keep this thing moving, even throughout a pandemic. You know what I mean? Even throughout a pandemic, guys. Listen, I hope you guys out there being safe.
That's right.
Guys, listen, pay attention. Definitely wash your hands. That's what is that? 6 feet.
Yes.
I mean, social distance. I mean, you know what you have to do out here to stay safe. Follow the rules. Please don't break the rules. I went to the car wash today, and I didn't have my mask on in the car. In the car you feel like you just safe. So I didn't have my mask on, and when I pulled up to the to get the car wash, the guy, he had his mask on, but he was trying to tell me about a special, which was a good deal. If you pay $3 a month, you get to get how many car washes you want in that 30, if you can come back every day. But he got real close to my face when he was explaining it to me, and I felt violated. You know what I mean? I didn't have time to grab my mask. But he did have a mask on.
It also was an incident at the supermarket where I guess a lady did not want to put a mask on. So they had to call a supervisor at the market, and she said she had some type of health condition that kept her from having to put that mask on. So it was like a big thing. So I don't know what the outcome was of that, but it's a lot of this is going on in terms of, should I wear my mask? Should I not? It's just been a lot.
Somebody said, what is the conversation about? Do we have a title up there yet?
The guy got comment.
Oh, yeah, it was a comment.
Okay.
But guys, listen, we here at the Round Table Podcast, guys. We thank you for checking us out, guys. We would like you to like and share this page.
I'm doing that right now.
That's right. And guys, listen, be sure to go over to our Facebook page. And guys, be able to YouTube. Yeah, I meant YouTube. I said, YouTube, and like and subscribe. Guys, we really need you to do
also
that.
Go to our website as well.
Checking us out, guys. Yeah, you know what I mean. Just listen. This what I say. I want this panel or this platform to be used by the people, for the people, and by the people, right? By the people and for the people. So, but guys, the only way that can happen is that we have to grow in numbers. So what am I saying? When you go to our YouTube page and subscribe and like and click the bell for notifications, guys, we are being empowered because there's power in numbers. So that's why we want you to subscribe. And guys, we want to be the voice for you. We want to be the voice for you. Listen, that's how Joe Biden or any of these guys will come on to our platform. I know podcasts who's not even really that big, and Joe Biden is on their podcast. You know why? Because they have numbers. If you want us to be that voice, go to our YouTube page. We can have a Joe Biden on our next election, down whoever it is, because we have power in numbers. So guys, we really want you. I'm serious when I say go to our YouTube page and subscribe and like the page, and click the notifications so that we can continue to show up, being that voice in the way that we know how. We're going to go ahead and get into it. But before we do, listen, we have Lady B here. We have Lovely T. We have RW3. Guys, listen, we just back into the same format. What's going on out here in this world. Everybody know what's going on. But what is on the docket today?
So our topic today, guys, we're gonna kind of like slay away a little bit for what's going on right now. Just kind of like come down a little bit.
That's right.
So our topic today is I hit the lottery. All right. So we will be discussing a Virginia family was just trying to get out of the coronavirus blues. by taking a long drive when they found what turned out to be nearly $1 million in cash in the middle of the road. They turned in the cash. Come on now, what would y'all do? Come on now, I need y'all to be for real. I need you to be for real, for real, for real. Come on now, what would y'all do?
Can we be for real and not incriminate ourselves?
Well,
I mean, say like, okay, just say that during this pandemic, you didn't lost your job, you know, and you like, man, I don't know, I got all these bills due, my credit card bills is due, my rent is due, my light, gas bill. What you do? What would you do? Come on, y'all.
I mean, and here's the thing, right? So, you know, they drive away. They drive, go on a little cruise, you know, go on a cruise. I mean, you know, come back, going. I guess they was coming back home from the cruise.
They were just trying
or just
to
out there and about.
You know,
yeah, they just out there and they out. Long drive out and about, and they stumble over this, whatever this package may be.
It probably was like a big old bag or something.
Right they stumble on what this package may be. I wonder what was it? Was it in this? You know that old suitcase? Was it in a suitcase, duffel bag? What was it in? You know,
what I would do, because maybe because I've watched too many movies, sometimes I think bills are marked and they can be tracked. So oftentimes I think folk, I'm just going to go spend the money. So what I'll do is I'll continue living the way I'm living, but I'll just spend the money within the means of what my salary is and not bring attention to myself.
So you would keep it.
I'm just over the next 20 years, I'm going to spend it.
You just going to keep it.
I'm going to go to the studio, record music, or Tone my man. So we're going to do some stuff together, you know.
Right.
So we going, you know, and I'm going to keep it, but I'm not going to just, I'm not going to buy
a couple G's?
I'm not going to buy like a $700,000 car. I'm just going to be regular. Stay within the scope of my salary. I'm just going to still take trips, you know, give me some night, go to the pawn shop, give me some stuff like that. Just keep it low so I won't get tracked.
That's right. No, that's smart.
She said, well, Stacey Ann Dawkins said that's scary. Yeah. What if they come looking for it? Who?
Yep.
Who?
Well, what if it's some mafia's money?
I found it. Hold on. Did you say y'all found it on the road?
Well, you started out saying you watched a lot of movies. So in a lot of movies, you see where people pick up a bag of money and the next thing you know, they being chased or.
Well, because of Hollywood, okay, those things miraculously happen. But the point is, if I find the money in the bag and there's nobody around, that money is good as spent.
Oh, but what if it, like I said, what if it was tracked? Like you say, you watch a lot of movies in the mafia. This is the straight up gangster.
Well, how can they track the money?
No, they got they got something inside of that money.
Well, I know a lot of banks and stuff in terms of money being spent, bills being tracked or whatever. Yeah, but in terms of the mafia, no, I ain't concerned about that.
I can see it being inside of the bag, in the bag, you know. But see, I'm gonna tell you what, I definitely would not report the money. It's not getting reported by me, you know. But what I would do is I'll take the money, put it in the trunk, drive to the nearest Home Depot, sit there for a minute, go into Home Depot, get me some type of tough bag to secure all this money, and then put that in, and then get rid of the suitcase or whatever that the money was in.
There you go, Tom.
You know,
my goodness.
You know what I mean? Then I would go to the house, tell Tasha what's going on. We'll go get a hotel. We'll go get a hotel so we can leave there and count this money up. Get the money right, spread down. I mean, it's gonna be a whole thing.
I was about to say, you better make sure it's not counterfeit.
So
yeah,
people die when they spend counterfeit $20 bills.
Right.
So I guess the first thing I do is call Tone, and me and him go sit down. I think me and Tone can get a plan together.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Look, I just say invite me on the boat. You know, when y'all go, invite me.
Right.
Hold on. What would you do? You never told us.
Yeah, lovely tea.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Part of me says I would take maybe, a little bit and then turn the rest in, but then I would be questioned, like, do you know what happened to the rest of the money? Like, to keep
you're
it.
so sweet. That's so sweet of you. I'll take a little bit and turn the rest in. That's so sweet.
A reward. There may be a reward for it.
Yeah, your reward is the government gonna be on your track for the rest of your life.
I haven't heard no reward that this Virginia family got yet. They ain't get them nothing. So what?
They
so
were never.
You said the Virginia family turned it in, right?
Yeah, they turned it in, but I haven't heard that they got a reward for turning
it in. But you know what? At least they get to go away conscious free. Sometimes a peace of mind is priceless.
No, well, I mean, I don't care about that. I'm taking that money. That's why. Listen, that's why they would never.
Somebody is going to miss $1 million. No one just.
That's your law.
I lost $1 million.
Yeah,
no,
that's your law.
Bill Gates would. He wouldn't miss it.
No, right. First of all, who's carrying around $1 million in? Like that's shady. That's some drug money. That's some weed. Did a heist money. That could not be. No one legitimately. I would think no one legitimately walks around with $1 million in cash. Who does that?
But my concern is, you know what? Considering how the system is, and you don't know who's the good guys, who's the bad guys. Shoot, Tone, you mean to turn some money in, and somebody might come looking for you. It could be anything, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm at the hotel spraying it down with Tone.
All right, that's right.
What are you spraying it down with? And enlighten me. What are you spraying it down with?
Well, the disinfect, some kind of disinfect. You know what I mean?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah,
we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my gosh!
I don't know.
I'll stay within my means, and I'll just be living regular. I'll be coming to work every day.
Your means. What are you gonna do with your paycheck money? You're gonna have to put it in savings for one. It's gonna turn up somewhere.
Well, see, you got to wash the money. See,
there you go, Tom.
You got to take the money and you have to put it into a type of business so that it'll wash itself and then it get a legit payment out of there. And see, that's what you do. You just got to wash.
So what about when you guys found somebody's credit card? Would you guys turn it in or will y'all keep it?
Oh yeah, I've done that.
No, I'll turn it in credit card.
So, but if it's cash, you just don't turn it in.
Well, remember that happened to us.
I know that happened to us.
Listen, let me tell you. Look what happened to us, right? Me and my wife, we used to own a janitorial service. We used to own a janitorial service, and we used to clean. It was a company that we used to clean. North Soccer Zone. Yeah. And listen, Soccer Zone had all of these big old green. I mean, you could just go out there and run fields, and I mean, they had everything out there. And they had like bleachers because people go out there, athletes, they'll go out there and play soccer and hockey. So, at a certain time, me and my wife will have to go in there and clean it. So we went in there this one night to clean it, and we seen on the table someone's wallet on the bleachers, somebody's wallet. So I went over there, opened it up. Man, that joker had $400. Crispy $100 bills, had credit cards in there. I mean, it had everything in there. Do you know we took this man his wallet? Yep. We gave him his $400, his credit cards. We gave him everything. I'm saying this for a reason. We gave everything to this guy. His school. Yep. Cash Tech. Actually, Cash Tech. And guess what he gonna ask me? Guess what he gonna tell me? He gonna say, "Man, you must got the Holy Spirit in you." That nigga said, because
it's not every day that would happen. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of, losing my purse or misplacing my wallet. And so my thing is, most of the time, if I can get like my ID and the stuff that just takes forever to replace. If the cash is gone, I'm because I don't carry a lot of cash on me anyway. So you can have that little $20, $30, maybe even $100, but I would appreciate my things being returned to me. I would still, report it to the credit bureaus and maybe change up my codes and everything, but at least I have it back in my hand,
Stacey Ann Dawkins said she would definitely turn it in. I know she'd turn it into her bank account.
So like just recently,
right.
Recently, I was over at CVS and doing a little shopping. I didn't mention it to you, but I guess the guy, he dropped his credit card. I picked it up and I took it back to the pharmacist and I gave it to them, and he was right there. He came in like, "You seen the credit card?" And so she handed it to him. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, so what's the difference from cash? Just finding cash from finding like a credit card or debit card? What's the difference?
Credit card has identity on it. You have a name.
Right.
Cash, you just. But again, going back to the $1 million, guys, who's carrying around $1 million, and then what type of situation are they in that they actually lose it? That wouldn't bring some type of suspicion or alarm or caution to you, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, obviously something going on. They just lost that $1 million. I'll tell you that. Now, here's the thing: if I'm walking behind you, and you either you set it down and you was talking and then you walked away, then hey, sir, here's your bag.
Right. You're right, Tony. I would do that.
If it's something in that situation, but now if it's on the street and nobody else around, that's mine. That's mine.
Let me tell you something. Like when I take my garbage out of my dumpster, right, and I'm throwing my bags, I see like a duffel bag near the dumpster, and I look and see the money. I'm gonna look around, and I'm right. That's all she wrote.
That in psychology, did you have a class? I remember doing a project in one of my psychologists.
They have cameras.
Yeah, psychology class where somebody dropped $1. You don't remember doing that because you had the same teacher I had. I remember we had somebody dropped $1 and then they wanted to see what you were going to do. It was something along those lines.
Would you do kind of a thing?
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
Well, I mean, it's to what degree? You know what I mean? I have something that I say that's in my walls, and then there's some things that's outside of my walls. So that's within my reach. If it's on the street, it's lost and found.
And I guess if it was a $20 bill, if it was a $50 bill, I think if it was even a $100 bill, and I'm walking somewhere and I happen to see that, lying on the ground or in between, wedged in between something, because you don't even know what it is at first. You just see the green and then you go up on it and you like, oh my God, $100 bill. Like I would keep it. I would keep it. So it's not so much, the act itself. It's just $1 million. Like, again, like no one just loses $1 million. To me, there's some strings attached somewhere with that. And it's something that I wouldn't risk wanting to be a part of.
And listen, that's going to
make me a chicken. I don't know.
That's going to make me want it even more because, like you said, this never happened. So that meant it was meant for me to get it since it never happened. You know what I mean? I mean, for real.
What would you do with the $1 million? I want to step a little further. What would you do with the $1 million that you found in the middle of the road?
And it's clear. You cleared it up. You cleaned it up.
Yeah.
RW3 said he would just live his life, which eventually we're gonna see him in that new Lexus. Eventually we're gonna see him, with the $500 suits. Eventually.
No, because when I'm telling you, I got it mapped out. It'll be mapped out. Like the car I got right now, I'll just go see. And this is another thing, and we on podcast talking about this. In Detroit, you can just make anything happen, and so you can get a lot of unofficial things done.
Yeah. That's true.
So if I wanna, you know, do certain upgrades to my vehicle, I have to do that unofficially. And
Right.
spend like 10,000 on it.
But you still, people still gonna see the upgrade.
No, they not.
Oh Lord, you're gonna have a 007 car, hidden button, secret capabilities.
But I tell you what, man, I would flip that all back into business.
Yeah.
At least 500,000 of that I'll flip back into business.
I also put it into our nonprofit.
Yeah.
That money into our non.
Well, yeah. But even if you divide all that, even that 500,000, you got so much left. Because I would definitely go somewhere and pay cash for a house. You know what I mean? And every move that I'll do, other than me putting money into business, will be cash only.
Yeah.
I won't own any. I would cash only, no notes on nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, I live kind of differently, so I would want to have credit, because some places you just have to have credit. If you want to live in certain neighborhoods, if you want to, you know, credit is not just to use to buy. Credit also opens up access to different things, and so I would want to make sure my credit was A1. And I would, you know, use, you said, what would I use the money for? I would use it to make sure that I had A1 credit. I would clear up some debt, and I would invest, like you said, Tone. I would do probably a mixture, you know, of real estate, business, nonprofit, scholarships. Certainly make sure that my immediate family has something that they can, that would make money itself in time, you know, like a trust fund or something like that, because, you know, that's a once in a lifetime thing. So I wouldn't just go out and spend it on, you know, whatever. I would put it invested in things that have turnaround and that would continue to generate generational income.
Right.
You know, and put the next generation on a whole different level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really,
really good.
Yeah, but I don't know if it matters between the two people, meaning blacks and whites.
Yeah, I think this was
does
a white family. This wasn't a black family. So it's real quick. So not to twist it. So let's kind of twist it a little bit. So what do you think if it was a black family versus a white family? What do you guys think? Do you think that the black family would turn the money in? Or you think the white family would turn it in? Or do you think, you know what I'm saying? What do you guys kind of think?
That'll put you out there. That's that one right there could.
Well, yeah, because we know we have a lot of black families that are very you know, they would turn it in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got right.
Families that would too. So it's all determined about that individual.
I think it is the circumstances at that time and situation.
So it doesn't matter, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I would be careful of stereotyping.
Yeah.
Because you know, obviously desperate people do desperate things, and so whether a person was black, white, Asian, Native American, you know, if you are living in poverty, right. If you struggle, you know, with means, I think that's probably a stronger driving force in terms of what you would do versus skin color or race.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
We already found out that RW3 and Antonio will work together on the money. So we already came down to that.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not.
Yeah.
If it was me and you on the road together.
And Stacy Dawkins said, "Would y'all use Lysol?"
Yeah,
clean the money.
Yeah, that's what it'd be. Lysol.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be Lysol to clean that money. But I mean, to me, it just makes it makes sense to me. listen, if you lost $1 million, and I found it was meant for me to find your $1 million, because that was my money. That was meant for me. So I'm going, like I said, I'm going to clean it up and get it out of there. You know what I mean? I'll put it all into, wash it in all kind of companies and other people's companies. Some of it in other people's companies. I mean, honestly, $1 million is really not a lot of money. You know what I mean? It's, I mean, obviously, yeah, it is, but you be surprised how much money how much of $1 million you could spend up just in your daily needs, or those things you think you need, like, yeah, in terms of houses. Even, listen, you're going to say, I never had the house I wanted, never had the furniture I wanted, never had the car I wanted, never had the furniture or the accessories to the furniture, never had the clothes I wanted, never had the shoes I wanted. I mean, come on, you know how this thing goes. You could spend $1 million. Go ahead.
But to your point, though, I think to go from your baseline to $1 million is life changing. Now, once you acquire those things and you have to maintain a $1 million lifestyle, then it becomes, like you say, less of, you don't have as much disposable income, because now now you have to maintain this lifestyle. But when you first get that and you go from, like I said, your baseline to $1 million, oh, jackpot, jackpot. But be careful what you do, because you got to maintain it.
Right, you do.
You can go out and get that brand new Lexus, but guess what? If that tire busts, that's like a $400 tire to replace. You know what I mean? You got to be ready to maintain that lifestyle.
And if you go out to get like a $500,000 house, you got to maintain that house. You got to get the lawn cut. You gotta,
bigger than that, the taxes, on that. Yeah. But I mean, see, that's why I'm saying I wouldn't just go straight up spending it. Just get I mean, that's just like, okay, so here, we still on the same subject of what would you do. So this is not about we're not about to get off this subject. Okay, now here you go. What if you receive that 350, that 350,000 reparations?
Yeah, reparations.
Because, okay, so we know that Johnson, the co-founder, billionaire. He's a billionaire. Bob Johnson. And he's fighting for reparations. I think they had to break down like this, about 42 million blacks, black African Americans, and the payout of 14 trillion. I had put it in my phone. Was like 300 per person. And that's what the word is. So he's trying to, he's trying to make sure we can get that money. But I guess my thought is this. Okay, so so each person would get 350,767 one-time cash payment. Over 42 million African Americans are English descendants. So it says, so that those would be the ones who would get that kind of money. And I guess the lawsuit is for $14.7 trillion dollars. So that's what the lawsuit is about. So, but here's the thing, right? What if that happens and every African American, I don't know if they're doing it per household or how that works, or how they figure those numbers out, but every household get 350. That's not a good thing. Do you know that's more of a bad thing than a good thing? That you give you put $350,000 in someone else's hand, and they never had that kind of money before. That can be worse than them not having it. Worse than them not having it. So I don't know if I agree with that, it being a one-time cash fee. to those, I mean, and I don't know how you would do it. I don't know how you would do it where you know the ones to give it to. You know what I mean? Maybe they should go on a psychological evaluation. You know what I mean? They get the money, but they have to go on some type of evaluation to see if can you know, mentally, or just even ask, you know, what is that highest? I mean, what is the large amount of money you ever dealt with? I mean, because you're talking about 350. Do you know how many deaths there would be in the African American community? I mean, I'm just keeping it real. You know how many people that will actually be died, whether they'll be robbed, because you're going to still have those who try to bully them and take their money. You know what I mean? Think about it. Every black person get $350,000, right? Now, every black people get, okay, so now everybody know they got their money. So now you got those who are the disadvantaged mentally as well as physically than those who have a criminal mindset. Still, they just got $350,000 out, and now they want to take your $350,000. So, how many people you think will actually die in the black community, or and how much will overdose on drugs? Because I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest. If you want to hurt the people, that's the thing you do. Give all of them money at one time. Some gonna die, and a lot of dying, and some what you're gonna do is right. But I think that they're gonna see something dead wrong. I mean, something's gonna go totally wrong. What do you guys think about that?
What you guys think?
So, in terms of 350 grand reparations, I would like to think that I think there will be a segment of folk, you know, of course there's going to be some crime, there's going to be some mismanagement of money, but I like to think our people are have some wisdom today where we will be able to make some good, healthy decisions, some good investments. I think potentially we will have a lot of upstart businesses. But I do think it'll be some of that two-tone, like you said, though.
So do you guys think that money should be dispersed into like an organization and then dispersed to the individual for businesses purposes? They want to start a small business. So, or you think that each individual person should get their money?
Now, just give me my money. Give me mine.
Don't. I think there should be multiple options. And we touched on it a little bit last week, but I agree with what RW3 was saying. There will be a segment of the population that will just not know what to do or not make healthy choices with the money. And then, like you said, Tone, you do have people who have mental, illness, or they have guardians, or they just have people who are responsible for them with ill intentions. And so, money is a tool, just like a gun, just like, many other things. And it's the people that wield that tool that determines if it will be used for good or bad. So I do agree that there would be a segment that did that. But again, I think it would be good for there to be options. Mm-hmm. Like RW3 said, just give it to me in one lump sum. Others may say,
I think they were going to give it over time. That's what I thought I remember reading, but I read it again. Yeah.
I thought I seen one lump sum.
People over time.
I might be dead, so I don't want that.
I mean, even just opportunities on how, like, I think there should be like a massive financial
literacy.
Thank you. Financial literacy campaign opportunity that simultaneously is rolled out with something like that to give folks, because in many African American homes, unfortunately, we don't have the same conversations around financial literacy that some of these other cultures do. And it's proven by how many times our dollars rotate within our community before they go outside, unlike other cultures. So I think that we would need to have like a massive financial literacy campaign and opportunity to go along with something like that.
Yeah, but okay. So this is my belief. I believe that what was that good for the goose is good for the gander. Well, what am I saying in that? Now, so if I give that $350,000 to someone like myself, then that means I'll have to give it to everybody else, even if they can't handle it. So what's got to happen is that so that wouldn't be considered to be fair, because there's some disadvantages in between those things. Okay, what I can do with 350,000 and what someone who's never seen that type of money, or what I mean, because I've never seen that type of money before. I'm saying in terms of the mentality of how to spend it. So my thing is that I would prefer that money be wrapped up into grants, into business with no interest. I would like to see that wrapped up into education, where if they choose to get, in other words, it's like this: you have 350,000, you can spend it in these areas where either is to purchase a house, either is to get a car, either is to get a business loan. And that loan really won't be a loan. It won't be, you don't have to pay it back. You know what I mean? Because it's actually still your money. I would do it that way. Or and something that can be designed for those who just don't want to do either of those things. Maybe it's I don't know. But all I'm saying is that I think
like
that
they have to put a percentage. They must put a percentage. Well, then there's some people that don't believe in financial institutions, but I was going to say they must put a percentage in a retirement plan. So, something. I get what you're saying.
So would you like? So would it? And I guess this is where the conservative, liberal mindset, the shift between little government and more government. And I guess when you think about it, there are people who, and I can understand and empathize this point of view. If it's my money, I want to blow it all. If I want to flush it down the toilet, it's my reparations. It's my share. So if I want to spend it that way, or blow it, or burn it,
Well, what have you been taking advantage of to get it? You get what I mean? What I'm saying is, what if someone take advantage of someone who don't have the mindset to take care of this money? What if you find more people dying or being shot and robbed for the things that they listen? Here's the thing, and this is maybe this is a myth or whatever you want to call it, but Black people love to look good. Black folks love to look good. We are some of the most materialistic people in the world. I mean, other than I believe that the Arabics are just like a, but anyway, but I'm just saying that it would be people, I would know, we already gonna know everybody have this kind of money. But when I see those, I mean, it's gonna be easy to be taken advantage of. So you're gonna have a lot of people who are going to be taken advantage of, and it might cause more harm to our community than this even now. I mean, just like the drug epidemic that was pushed into the Black communities. You know what I mean? And they knew it was going to destroy more so the Black man or Black families. So same, right. It would kill. But even the Bible says the money. The love of money is the root to all evil. The love of money. So what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of terrible things happen if they were to. You're not even going to be safe with your money. I mean, I'm just saying it's just going to be. I just believe it's going to be terrible if that was to happen. I mean, everybody's giving their opinion, but you know what I mean. It just, oh man, that would just be. I mean, if you want to destroy your people, that's the thing I'll do. If I want to destroy you, I can say, listen, let's give them the money. And matter of fact, yeah. In fact, we just gonna send everybody checks. We're gonna put it on. Listen, imagine $350,000 on a card. I mean, come on. That's crazy hood. Yeah. Well, no, but look, now think of, and I'm gonna say this, because those are the ones who are going to come after you. Think of those white people who are looking to get that money.
That's what I was going to say. There's going to be a lot of predatory activity. Because you're describing on one level, like just, Black people not making healthy choices with their money or making unhealthy choices with their money. But like you say, another level of that, I don't care what color you are, the business person, the predatory business person, the lawyers, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's going to be coming at you trying to get some of that money.
Yeah. That's so true. And they're going to be raising their prices high. They're going to be triple.
No, I don't think they will raise their prices. I think that they will try to, like you said, when you predatorily.
They ain't going to raise it?
No, because I'm trying to get your business. Because there's going to be everybody trying to come after you. I'm not going to raise my prices. I'm going to make sure that they're desirable so that my deal is better than the next person's deal. I mean, that's what I would look at, because everybody's going to be coming after them. Listen, if you they won't say black, but if you get reparations, come on down here now and you will get 20 and 30% off on this brand new whatever this car is. You go there, but you have to. They ain't gonna say black, so they'll say so. But you have to qualify for the rapid. I mean, I'll say rapid. I mean, I'm about to say the rapid refund, but the reparation. I mean, I can see that. I mean, I can see these jokers now.
T-shirts reparation. I can see discount. We got the reparation discount sale going on.
Right.
We got, what I'm saying, I can see it all.
I mean, it'll be so much stuff.
That's why you have to just, and like I said, implement a major literacy, financial literacy, but you have to do it with structure. I agree. If you just say, here you go, y'all figure it out, you're gonna have a lot of ill-intentioned activity going on. Right. So there needs to be a check and balance in place. And, RW3, like, I get your point about big government, but, more or less, maybe that would be the role of the government, is some type of help with getting checks and balances in place to kind of negate some of that ill-intentioned activity taking place. It's going to happen. But, it doesn't have to happen on such a large scale.
Can you imagine how many Cadillacs on one block? I mean, how many Cadillacs would you see on one block? Everybody gonna own the Cadillac on the block. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
every people been wanting Cadillacs. Black folks been wanting Cadillacs.
Everybody is gonna own a brand new car, and they still gonna go back to that same old hood. No, I mean, because they got to take the time to buy the house. You get the car quick. You can go get the car the same day you get the check. You can't do that with a house. So, people going to be, at least they're going to have that brand new car or that truck with rims on them. I mean, tinted windows. It's going to be so many white tennis shoes on the street in 1 week. It's going to blind. It's going to just glow. The whole city going to be in a glow. I mean, boy, you already know. I'm just saying. So, I mean, listen, I'm throwing it out there because maybe black folks, if they see that, they'll say, wait a minute, yeah, that's a way to kill off black folks. Let's send them that $350,000. I mean, look, we're gonna put the money back in the economy within a week. The money gonna be back into the economy within 1 week. I mean, I won't say all the money will be spent. I remember back in the day, because my shout out to my old dude who's passed away. He used to work at they used to be called Fisher Body. That's where they used to make the Fieros. I don't know if y'all familiar with Fieros, the vehicle. And he used to tell us all the time. He used to say these guys would leave with their check and come back the next following Monday asking, can they borrow cigarettes from him? They will be straight up broke. He said that. I mean, he said that was nothing in the plant, and some of them been drunk all the money up or partied hard. But yeah,
and we got a comment from Eugene McJustice McDonald. He says, despite who's trying to prey on the people who get reparations, they deserve it. And all people have to do and can do is say no.
And he said to Mr. Bouchel, does Tony have anything good to say about black people?
No. Not at all.
Oh my
No, I mean, you know, it's this thing here. It's this thing here where
Lovely T one gonna mention that.
You always have to look at those things that can bring danger to your community. The easiest thing to do is to say, yeah, we'll take anything that you give us, and without any training with it, education, mental guidance, I mean, whatever, making sure that your home is more comfortable, who you live around when this check come. I mean, my thing is, I look at the bigger picture of the overall instead of just give me mine and let me take care of mine. I think if you care about the people, you teach them how to grow. You teach them how to grow. You just don't throw it out at them and expect them to grow. So,
you know what? I will say this, Tom. I think that this time that we have with everything that's going on, like if this would be the time to catalyze the word I want to say to catapult, or I don't even know what the word is I'm trying to say, but basically build off of the energy that we have being united because of everything that's going on with Black Lives Matter. Like, now would be the time, because you have the attention of Black folks, you have their solidarity, their want or their need to see themselves as a group and not an individual. This would be the perfect time for reparations to be rolled out, I think.
See, that's another thing about it is, I believe that there's enough Black folk where if people were given their lump sum to create opportunities and choices for people to learn, invest, and get to things that they need. Because ultimately, my thought is this: even if we create a structure and partitioning, how we give people money, that still need to be sustained beyond the initial.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think, people, we need to create this environment, the structure, so when people do get their money, options. So, for example, I would, like before the reparations, I would have different companies and financial literacy companies and opportunities be vetted through whatever system we're using. So now, before you get your 350, you sit in this one-day class. These are all the legitimate things we recommend, who are reputable agencies and this, that, and the third. If you want to go in this direction, and then once they get all the information, now they have the resources to make choices.
Okay.
Yeah, but
and even with that, I think, like when I did a lot of statistical work and having to pull data, one of the trends that I noticed, and this could just be me, if you're an epidemiologist out there in the world, correct me if I'm wrong, but around 33% is what you typically see in any like grouping of something. 33% of the population that you're looking at. So I would even dare to say that even with all of that, RW3, I still think you're gonna have around about 33% of everyone who gets the reparations that will end up like Tone is saying. But I mean, even if that is the case, the good side is that you have a majority of people who actually were able to take that money and, like you say, make it just take us as a people to a whole nother level of wealth, accumulated wealth. And
but even on that, I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah, right. Even on that, my thing is this, right? So you still have a group of people who at a young age had kids, had 5 or 6 kids in the community, living and not, and you know, not really in a good community, in a good neighborhood that will receive $350,000. And maybe this person don't know how to take care of themselves. You know, maybe they don't really, or they know, and the way they know is because all they've been getting is food stamps, where they can go into the store and buy up all of the food, and then they can buy all the clothes and maybe get a car. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what I'm saying is look at this, and whether we want to believe it. Okay, so here we go, right? For 7 years, I worked in the health department. For 7 years, I worked in the health department in Herman Kiefer, right? And you know, I seen so many homes that were broken down, dealing with women, young, and they were young women, infertility. You know what I mean? Making sure that these moms can get and back and forth to the doctor's appointment. I mean, all ages from 45 to 16, seeing all of the ages, you know, different. I worked around a lot of social workers, that's all I worked around, counselors to social workers, you know, because obviously I didn't have the degree. So I did more of the dispatching. We did more of the picking up the, you know, the patient. And we had to go, you know, we have some training, some advocacy classes and whatever. But what I'm saying is I've seen so many broken or young minds that have kids now. And I'm thinking, like, what would happen if that person get $350,000? Maybe some of them may do right by it, but maybe some won't, and it won't be intentionally. You know, it will be just because this is all they know is to take this money and do this with it, not really having a bigger picture, but just in the right now. It'll be terrible. It'll be terrible.
Because even on the low scale of where they are now, I mean, you know, a lot of people want things that have never had things. Like, if you've been wanting certain things, I'm just saying, even the basic things, you know, like a home, or even the nice things in your home. And then when you finally get this money, you want to splurge because you never had these things, and you've been wanting these things for a long time. So I think it'll be a lot of that, just never being able to have certain things, and now you can get those things.
Yes.
You still got to make sure you stir those things, stir it in the right direction in terms of investment.
Eugene said that's agreeable. So we need to cover ourselves in the school system, law programs in our community.
Now, see, RW3 said he would have me along with him if he ran for political office. But see, I'm thinking like, hey, we get that money, we can open up our own chain of schools. You know what I'm saying? And make our own publishing company and write our own books, our own history books. You know what I'm saying? And our own curriculums for.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But here it goes. See, the part of that is, like I said, that money would be more if it was put into a grant, or it would be a grant. All you have to do is take a class that doesn't cost that much money, where they will show you how to make that happen. And then after you figured out how that happened, then they will release that money to allocate in those areas that you want them to work in.
So if you don't take your class, that means you can't get your money?
Well, I would say that you will be encouraged to. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess it's how you would say it, but I would think that you would want to not burn the money out if you get the business. So you'll want some type of education. And see, and that's. But
I don't think they should make it hard where you got to fill out.
Well, it's a grant though. That doesn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Okay. As long because the money is yours. They just trying to make sure that it's been spent out safely. So
having checks and balances.
Yeah. They'll give you the money, but they'll put it in grants that you have to go and just put in your information, and they'll say, okay, what you trying to do? Okay, did you take the class? Yeah, that's part of, if it's part of the, why would you not take the class if they're giving you $350,000? You get what I mean? So
and maybe if you can't, you get it in installments versus one lump sum or something, you know what I mean? But I agree with you.
Well, I think that you should be encouraged to get it. If you even if you don't want to, you should be encouraged to get it. But in saying that, all I'm saying is before it's let go, there's some, even if I'm about to buy a house, I have to take this little training, and it tells you how to manage your money, tells you about all these things that you would do, even though you'll be buying a house with cash and paying it all, you know what I mean, with the debt, but they'll just give you some type of education that you, how to keep your community clean. Come on.
But you know, I think, and I don't know if I'm about to switch over, but this is kind of my closing thought on that, is that to Eugene's point, I think that like the minds that would be at the table of how this is done need to go at it with an optimistic perspective. Like I think we would limit ourselves if we go into it thinking, oh, people going to overdose and people going, you know what I'm saying? Even though that may be true, I think that we have to have an optimistic perspective though. Like I heard somebody somewhere on the folks in the blue uniform, they said, you know, what would a world look like without any people in blue uniform? Like we have to be able to expand the possibility of what could be with this resource in order to make sure that whatever we build structurally, you know what I mean, that we are allowing for those possibilities to come to fruition. If we go into it like if we go into it trying to police people,
but that's a perfect
you see what I'm saying? We limit. But again, you aim for we're talking about changing wealth on a generational level. So the world that we live in today it doesn't have to be the world that your children's children live in tomorrow.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Here's the claim. I'm gonna set it before we go to the next topic. Okay, you're the president of the United States of America, and you have that choice to say, hey, listen, we're not gonna directly put the money in the blacks' hands. We're going to allocate different. I mean, you know, services, nonprofits, grants. If they're trying to buy a house, we got it set up for that. If they're trying to set up their business, set up for that. Whatever it is, there's something set up for them to get that money. But let me finish it. In every area that you want to do, this set up. Or Mr. President or Mrs. President, you could just push the button and everybody get their 350,000. Which one would you do? Let's finish it.
Different organizations, sometimes they hold on to all that money.
You're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm not talking about those kind of organizations. I'm saying organizations is already set up. Through the organization would be the federal government. They would be the ones, just like if you get SSD or if you get SSI. I mean, but the money is structured where you would get it depending on you just finishing the class, and the class is not hard. I'm saying, so you're getting the money regardless. It's not no hold up. It's your money, but they're making sure that it's properly being pushed out. But getting back so we can finish the subject, which one would you do? As the president, would you send out the checks, or would you allocate? Would you put together services that you know they're going to get? I'm talking now. Listen, this is the federal government doing this. This is not sending it to John Watch nonprofit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the federal government is the one who pushing out the money like they would do if you're a veterinarian. Would you get? I mean, veteran. Would you get your money? I mean, whatever it is, they're going to give you your money. You just got to go through this little class, like I said. And that's just to educate you, and it's not a long class, just something to say, okay, she or he got an education. Which one would you do? You only got two options.
Trace?
Oh, well, I would certainly go for a structured approach. You know, now what that structured approach, I know we're not dissecting that. You gave me two options. So I would go for the structured approach versus push the button and everybody just get a money fall. And I would like to acknowledge Eugene's comment after RWV.
Go ahead, jump on this comment.
He says, what about a super PAC? Try to influence the laws that I made that impact us. We need lobbyists to help us control the things that impact our lives. After the vote, that's what we should take our money to form. Having lobbyists that push the Black agenda is our answer.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I talked about a couple of shows ago, where I called it a party, where African Americans need to form their own party. And when they form their party, you know, they could be able to infrastructure what it is that we need to do as a people to move together. I mean, I talked about that, but go ahead and RW, I think he was going to talk about what would he do.
Well, my lean would be towards, you know, given those two choices, a more structured approach, a structured approach that provides, still have individual choice in that structured approach. But I wouldn't necessarily lean towards just the bulk drop of money, you know.
But now here it goes. So when you say choice, so is your money. Is everybody, because it's your reparation, is your money. They're just saying that, listen, these are the funnels that we're gonna push this money down. We're pushing these money down these particular funnels so that you can get educated in what you're going to be doing to make it better for you, for someone who's never had this kind of money before. And you even want to have to take a class that show you how to deal with money management. What would be wrong? What would be against doing something like that, opposed to just giving you your money?
I said that earlier in the podcast. I said that.
Well, because, you know, the Bible talks about a prudent person and a foolish person. A foolish person don't get help. They just say, give me my money. That's that. And I know we don't want to play into the biblical aspects of it, but I'm just saying it's foolish to receive a certain amount of money without any type of education, so that you will help you. So down the line, there'll be some type of success. You know what I mean? So I guess that's all I'm saying in the whole thing. And people I think can see the sanity in that part, than to say, hey, cut all these. Because look, even from Joe Biden, Donald Trump, all of them say absolutely not. I would not give reparations for something that I was not a part of. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but they keep saying that, but they wasn't a part of the Holocaust. I don't.
Well, we know.
You know, they wasn't a part of the Japanese.
Yeah,
they weren't a part of the Native America. Well, yes, they were. So why were they not all of a sudden a part of for the slavery, the trade?
They was a part of all of that. What you're saying? Yeah, right.
So, but why would they say they're not a part? You know,
well, they say they say because of something that happened so many years ago that has nothing to do with me today. So I don't feel that I'm responsible because they would say that, you know, hey, those were my forefathers. That has nothing to do with me right now. So I don't think that I need to give them any money.
Happening today. Okay. That's part of it.
Well, and that's a good segue, you know, into our next topic about structural racism, because that's how they're linked. So we'll talk about it more.
Guys, we're going to go ahead and get into our next topic real quick here. So
okay, just go ahead and push it. Go ahead and read it off. I know that was you reading off what it was?
All right. So yes. So our title is "Racism is Killing Us." So guys, we're going to be talking about. I read over an article written by James Hamblin. He's in the Atlantic.com post, and he talked about structural racism. He talked about how racism is a public health issue. He talked about where the social and economic order is arrayed against Black folks, more men. He talked about. He says that the system is designed to keep Black men or people subordinated. He also talked about how the system is designed to prevent Blacks from being successful. He talked about the psychological health of dealing with the structural racism that has caused health challenges that many Black men face today, from diabetes, from heart conditions, from high blood pressure, and so forth. So guys, what do you kind of pull from that? What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, you've been hearing a lot of. Go ahead. Someone was going to comment.
No, I just Eugene. I guess it can kind of lead us into what we're talking about. He stated the attack on Native Americans was far before slavery.
I think that was in response to a previous comment.
Yeah. Well, what is this thing going around of systemic
systematic racism?
Yeah. Systematic
structural racism.
Well, that's systemic. Isn't that systemic racism?
Yeah, it is.
Something that takes over something in terms of a community or infrastructure.
Place.
Right.
It keeps you from advancing.
Right.
More to say.
And I believe that first. Okay, so here it go with me, right? So it doesn't matter about. Now it does matter to some degree, but the looting, the riot, I'm just saying whatever, rioting, whatever it is, for change, for change. It doesn't, to me. I don't know. It does changes things, and it have changed things. But I'm thinking it's going to be more than just that. You get what I mean? So, like we talked about last week, just because a company comes up to say, "Hey, listen, we giving $10 million to what is that? I'll say vaccines, $10 million of vaccines, to help make a difference in the Black community." That's still systemic. I mean, systemic racism. Do we really know what that means? Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So when you talk about, it says structural racism, right? Structural racism. So in the world of public health, they have these, they have two categories. One is called the social determinants of health. The other is the structural determinants of health. And when they look at those two things, they're looking at those things that are either of a physical nature or a system, or those things that are characteristic of a group of people that either where people live, eat, play, work, worship, that either enhance their life or cuts their life. So when you talk about structural determinants of health, you're looking at those things like the education system, like hospital or access to hospitals, access to grocery stores, policing, those structures where we live, work, play, eat, and worship that impact our everyday life.
Right.
So that's what I get from a public health lens when you say structural racism, the racism that exists within those different physical systems that we interact with every day.
That's right.
Represented in low-wage jobs and physically demanded jobs and jobs that offer inadequate levels. So that's what it's saying in terms
and even when you take a Bank of America, who wanted push to they were donating $1 billion into the 2.0. No, it was $1 billion. It was $1 billion. They were donating. But what I was about to say but these are the same people who had a fine of 2.2 million because of not discrimination for Black African Americans, bringing them into. So my thing is that you have to clean that up. We have to clean that up. But because if we don't clean that up, it is racism that is killing us. But no, you know what? I'm gonna read.
So this is more on the physical thing of saying that it's a wear and tear on the Black men, I'm gonna say, or the Black community that results from that, and it causes cardiometabolic diseases in African American
because of the stress, right? Because of the stress,
they gotta work these hard
Right.
Because they can't get the position. They got to get these low wage positions because they're not meeting that quota to get the higher position. So now they work these over demanding jobs, and it's exhaustion on the body and stress, and they cause.
But here's the thing: is that racism? One of the last week, I think a lady she made a comment. I thought that was powerful, where she said that what did she say? We're not no, she said George Floyd didn't die because of racism. He died because of being he was powerless. He was powerless. And when I heard that, that made so much sense to me, because my thing is that that's what's going on right now, that we being a powerless people, meaning because of our representation, economically, social. I mean, the whole any way you want to look at it, we're so powerless. And the main thing is that because we don't stick together as a people, we always want to do, and it's the crab in the barrel type syndrome, that we always want to do better than the next person. And if you're doing better, we'll pull you down or we'll hate on you because you're doing better. It's some conversations that I can't even have. I'm not even gonna go deeper, so I'm gonna leave it like that. I'll just like that. It's some conversations that I can't even have, because if I say some things, they'll think that I'm better than them. Trust me when I tell you this. So I have to avoid, if somebody's saying in this group of people, if they can say whatever they want to say about what's going on in their lives, but if I say anything, it'll be misconstrued, and I'm looked at as, oh man, he think he better. So we deal with that in even with our listen, all over. Listen, I've known people in our community who, because they had a degree, they thought that they were better than you because they had a degree. Mind you, that degree is just meaning you and really haven't really mastered. You're good at what you do to some degree. You still got to be retrained. So what I'm saying is that that's the hate. That we right. So if we can learn to come together and unite as one people, as one, I mean, really know what that means to unite as one people, then that half of the battle has already been won, because we're saying that we're sticking together. We're sticking together. We can work out all the other stuff later.
That's true. That's a good point that you talked about. And he also talked about the economic disparities of Black communities, and the lack of resources due to structural racism poses not just a psychological health concern, but also a physical, due to Blacks' genetic and diet.
Yeah, that's powerless. We're powerless. We don't listen. Look what's going on. They were doing it. They were doing something in Detroit, and I forget what they were talking about. But I'll use this word, gentrification, within the city of Detroit. Listen, what it was they were saying. This is what they were talking about, the PPPs. They were talking about how a lot of Black people didn't benefit from the PPP, who own their own business, and now their businesses actually have shutting down because they couldn't get the help that they needed, because the money went to the bigger companies. Now check it out. And they were saying, and some of those big companies are pushing the money back into those less unfortunate communities, and what they're doing is they're building infrastructure within those communities so that they can push out those who can't afford to stay there. Meaning that you will go and you see them condos in Detroit now, they're $3,000 for $300,000. No, one of them was actually $3,000 a month for rent, being put back into the community. So what am I saying? That makes us powerless, because we don't have any representation to the level that will help us, where we have a say so in how money is being put back into the community. I mean, I get it. If it's your money, you can do what you want with it. But I'm saying, is it going to be put back into the community where it's going to cause a disadvantage to those people who can't afford, like they're doing now? Believe it or not, there's a lot of property in the city that's very expensive. It's very, very expensive.
You think that it's causing trauma on the Black man?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, in terms
because he's stressing
health conditions.
Well, because you're too busy trying to thrive, and in this community, for me, one of the hardest jobs that you could ever do is become an entrepreneur. That's one of the hardest things that I know is become an entrepreneur. So my thing is that it's stressful on you as a person because you have to go make it happen, or not just really get out, make it happen, but come up with those ideas that's going to keep it moving.
They even work too.
Right.
You know.
So you invest a lot of dollars. So, but somebody like, I don't know, RW3 or somebody else that may be, you know, for a black man, how is that stressful?
How is it stressful for you for RW3 in terms of, you know, I don't really know your circumstances or whatever in terms of this this show right now.
And when I think of the structural racism, health, you know, of course, I think of you know, physical health, and I think of mental health. And as you noticed, even what was an example I was just thinking about? I thought about how like quality mental health services. I've seen in some affluent community health services where, you know, the quality, it doesn't, people have access to the quality therapeutic services and they're more readily available than some community mental health agencies. Because I've seen some community mental health agencies, there's like an assembly line. I've seen where access to those services for poor and disadvantaged people, where you may have a community mental health agency, you might have one counselor or therapist who's required to see over 250 people.
And you think
it's impossible to get quality mental health services with that discrepancy in ratio from mental health provider to patient. But then I've seen the numbers being significantly less in terms of the ratio in some more fluent areas. Mm-hmm. And so not having that access can cause a heightened anxiety. And like Tracy talked about, and the impact on all of the other things in terms of your quality of life. And Tone, earlier you mentioned, just so I can be clear on your statement, you said, of course, you said is more powerlessness and less structural racism, or what? Now, what were you saying?
Well, the lady said that the reason why Mr. Floyd died wasn't because of racism; it was because of him being powerless. He was powerless. You know what I mean? And my meaning, it was not to the degree of him, but a powerless people. And, you know, the bully attacks those that's weak and they feel like they can't attack, more so because, I mean, nobody's going to come and help them. You get what I mean? So,
they're powerless. The question is because of the institutionalized racism.
Exactly. It stems to, well, I think that has a part of it. I don't think that's the actual fact. You know what I mean? I think it's more.
Well, I want to give an example, if I could. I want to give an example. So one I wanted to say, like, shameless plug, you know, I'm gonna just put it out there. For those of you who are local, I know that Northeast Integrated Health has recently opened up a psychiatric urgent care. So when RW3 talks about access to mental health, you know, folks don't have to go all the way to the emergency department and ascertain a multi-$1,000 bill just because they might be feeling depressed or, you know, anxious about something. They now have a place local right in their neighborhood that they can access to get same day psychiatric help, assessment and help without all of that other stuff. So when you talk about bettering the neighborhood and combating those things that limit the quality of life, Northeast has that urgent care that's now available. So I wanted to put that shameless plug out there. My example goes to, I'll never forget, I was at a conference in Washington, D.C., and there was this guy, he was a veteran, somebody. He had a room full of, that room was so packed, it had to be at least 1,000 people. It was, anyway, he was presenting from a historical perspective, like the timeline of how the lack of access to the GI Bill for African Americans put Blacks and whites on two totally different trajectories. And without making a long drawn story, to me, that's an example of structural racism where, you have two soldiers fought in the same war. They both come home, but you have the white soldier who has access to funding. They get to move out to the suburbs. They get jobs. Okay. They're able to generationally create a middle-class lifestyle for their family. Black soldier doesn't get it. Their family doesn't have the same access. They don't get to move out to the suburbs. As a matter of fact, they're redlined. So they can only move in certain parts of the city that are subclass, forget middle class, subclass, and that puts their family on a totally different trajectory. That generationally has impacted where those grandchildren are today in terms of, the trajectory. Now, of course, you always have roses that come from concrete, but it was the racism within that access, within that system that caused the difference. And there was another example of a man who they had him on TV. He did not get a particular award. And RW3, I don't know if you can help me with this, but I don't know if it was the Purple Heart or it was some type of award that along with it came all of these different, accolades and benefits. But he was a Black soldier. And I think Obama later, like when he was 90, ended up giving it to him. And they asked him, would this have changed your life if you would have got it? And he said, yes, because I would have gotten all the benefits that came along with it.
Right.
So when you
go ahead.
Real quick. So also they did a quick study. They looked at the Black and white differences in mortality from heart diseases and strokes. They said 1955 to 1964, that 10-year period, and they found enormous differences in the terms of mortality from stroke and heart disease in the Black population, particularly the Southern Black population compared to whites in terms of the structural, racism, what it has caused.
Yeah, you will be in denial. We would say that it's not affecting all of Black men in some way, maybe without you being aware of it. I'm quite sure if I was to talk to some of the men that I know, and they status, they even in that high status, they would say, that they have seen it, aware of it, or they know that it still exists, even in their circle, where it's still somewhat stressful. See, my thing is that in reparations, even in that, I also believe that, and this is my just me. I believe that every Black person should have a counselor on standby where it's paid by the government, part of the reparations, because see, even Black people don't understand that there's some sort of trauma within their own life being Black to some degree, or even to what they experience in terms of even looking at a man like a George Floyd and what happened to him being somewhat traumatized. And like the one lady said, she said that that Black people definitely should have gotten counseling, just even after what the people went through after the war. You know what I mean? After the war, I mean, we still had other systematic things that moved in. What was that? What was the name of that popular one? What's his name? The law called,
Oh my goodness.
you know, where he told them, you know, the popular law. What was that law, Warmack? That somebody tell me that law even here. What was the name of that? Jim Crow. Well, even the Jim Crow coming in, that, you know, but before then, after the war, no black person received counseling, and that's scary, because this one psychiatrist was saying, she was saying that black people, by them not having counseling after their people experience a trauma, you know, or something terrible as they did, this is why a lot of them go through. She even threw out this old saying. Now tell me if this not nothing that affects you today. If you had a mother, she said, my mother used to tell me that when you go somewhere, child, make sure you left it cleaner than you left it, because it's gonna be somebody. They was quote on white people that will be looking at you, but in some type of way, you always do things that you feel like you need to be better. If even what you say, how you say it, how you dress. I mean, that plays on you. Psychologically, even you, whether you believe it or not.
Sure, no,
yeah.
Sometimes you can say, well, man, I better do right on this job interview, because, you know, maybe they might just want to, you know, hire like the white person said me. So I got to make sure I got my A game on like triple.
What hairstyle you wear?
Hairstyle, I can't wear my natural style. A lot of times they look at that and they don't want to hire you. So it's a lot of stress that you deal with as a black woman or even a black man. I got to make sure my pants is full up, my belt is tight. I got to make sure this and that and whatever else that comes along with that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so let's even, you know, how slick the dominant, you know, culture has been in terms of how they implement or impose the structural or institutionalized racism. Just think about this. Now, you know, after the Civil War, and you know the 11 states, well, I think 11 states that succeeded from the Union, they say, okay, we're gonna create a way for you to come back into the Union. Those states, they had the following that, during the Reconstruction period, okay, we're gonna figure out how to get around this. So here we go with the black codes. So we gonna figure out a way. So now we got the vagrancy going on with black folk. So now these people don't have nowhere to go. We're gonna lock them up and still get free labor.
Right.
We still gonna figure out a way to do this. Then, hold on.
Right.
We're super slick. So now, as legislation is starting to be implemented, so here we go now. Like Tony mentioned, we go to Jim Crow and separate but equal. Really?
Right.
So you got to, we're gonna be separated. We're gonna segregate it. We both gonna have the same thing, but they saw pictures of we're in the commode in the back, and you're in the restroom in the building.
Right.
You're in the nasty water fountain, and we got the nice water fountain. You know, you're in the back. So now, right? So, and just to kind of play it, we're less than in the 60s from these Voting Rights Acts, the Voting Rights Acts, civil rights legislations in the 60s. Women just started to be able to vote in 1920. So now we're less basically 100 years from all of this stuff taking place. So now, again, it's almost like a modern day separate but equal. That, just when we're talking about access. Everybody got access to health care, but the quality, just like Jim Crow, just like, you know, after or during and after Reconstruction, the same thing.
Yeah,
that's just my thought about that.
And let's not forget the 1994 Act on the war on drugs.
Yes.
The Crime Bill Act. You know, all like you said, it's just a timeline of how they have structurally limited our lives. not allowed us to have the same quality of life. And that's why earlier to your comment, Joe Biden, yes, slavery was 400, 500 years ago, but the institutions that were built from slavery still exist today. And still got their foot on Black people's neck.
Exactly. And Eugene said something that was good. I didn't get a chance to read it properly. I don't know if anybody can see that, but anyway, he was saying something to the fact that, but I guess what I'm saying is that in terms of the legislation, it's that, yeah, we do need to pass. I think it needs to be bigger than that. And I think that we really listen, here go. Things are going to return back to normal if we don't step it up and we actually start pursuing different areas of to take power back to our own people. And you definitely have to look at it as your own people right now, because we need those legislation. I mean, whatever you want to call it, I call it a party or whatever, that would say, hey, listen, you have to hear our voice now, because we need to put things down on paper, because it's not going to be enough that you donating $1 million to police brutality to training. That's not going to help me out, because you send $1 million to help the police learn how to not be racist. You know what I mean? So, because that's what you're really teaching them. How can you teach this person mindset, on how not to be racist, when a lot of them coming from the KKK and all of these different organizations anyway, joining the police department. So my thing is that I don't need that type of money. I need money poured into a community of people that's going to infrastructure, or it's going to push out change with these people. It's going to change the way we do business. It's going to change the protocol. I'm not going to be the next N-word where you riding up and down the police. In other words, when you see me, you gonna think before you pull me over and want to put your knee on my neck. You get what I mean? Right. Because there's a lot of people that's gonna back me, and that's gonna see you under the jail. You get what I mean? Yeah.
That's like even with education. They had just another quick example of another system where racism exists. They did a special on GMA, and they featured Detroit, and they talked about how when COVID-19 hit, they highlighted this young lady that goes to Cass Tech. They have one computer. She has 3 other younger siblings, and they all have to share that one computer in order to do the classwork. And they focused in on that individual story, but then they, kind of brought it out and showed how it's no coincidence that Detroit, is mainly Black, but I think they said only had, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but or don't quote me, but it was around, I want to say 35% participation in school since it had to go from in school to being home. Not even 5 miles away, Grosse Pointe, in comparison, had 95% or higher participation, because everybody went home with a laptop.
Wow.
Everybody already had a laptop in place, and so for them, the transition wasn't like this huge thing. They had already integrated technology into their work. Right. And they had 95 versus 35. And it was no coincidence that there was only 3% Black people in Grosse Pointe.
And let me add to that.
Wait, but Detroit schools get a lot of money. So, because I'm tired of hearing about that. They get, like you had even said,
Grant Rich.
About Grant Rich. Yeah. Why is these students not being given the proper equipment that they need? If these schools, they got money, they just act like they don't have money. So that's what upsets me. Because who can tell?
I just did a quick to that. It's interesting you said that. and I go from that backwards. I just did some quick numbers. When I was a principal, it was what the per pupil we were getting was say around 7,500, and some affluent districts was maybe like 11,000. So I did some numbers off 300 children. That school would be getting over 1.4 million more than my school in Detroit. Think of what you can do with 1.4 million more than what you can get in a city. But I do agree, Tasha, in terms of, but we have to be good stewards of the money we do have. That's critical because, I don't think all the time we make good financial decisions, for our young people in the schools. Now, two things Eugene said. One thing, so I agree with Tony. I think that every Black person suffers from some variation of PTSD with all the stresses that we've been enduring. And secondly, he mentioned about, that we need a super PAC and lobbyists can influence the legislation that's passed. So and what I agree with him is this, and when people say that was generations ago and how does it impact us? Think about this. And I'll talk about this when I might work with a guy who's had some issues with his child's mother. And I always tell the guy, if the mother is in crisis or stress, the child is. And what do I mean? If you're giving her the business and you are being difficult and you all are arguing and having issues, there's this thing that we call secondary trauma. So the child can experience secondary, even though they're not the direct recipient of the event, they can secondarily, based on reading about it or having the impact of the event, experience secondary trauma from a particular event. So I tell guys all the time, even though you're not talking to your child, when you cussing your mom out or not being supportive, it impacts the child with the secondary trauma. So like Eugene said, and that can lead to, again, the post-traumatic stress with directly or indirectly. Second thing about, we need a super PAC and legislation. And I agree with Eugene, and on top of that, we need somehow checks and balances of, and Tony just kind of mentioned it, how the money is distributed. Like, for example, we just had the stimulus package, right? Some businesses were supposed to get money. Something happened, Tone, because only the big corporations somehow filtered down to the community. So we had the legislation, but somehow the power brokers prevented that to get to being sent down to where it was needed in these businesses. So we need the super PACs legislation, but a system in place that will make sure it gets to those who needs it most.
Yeah, and the only thing about legislation, okay, that's, the using the terminology is good, but when you break it down to the essence, or what I consider to be, is forming unity within the people, and those people move forward with that unity to create change, because we're becoming one mind to say, this is what our people need. We're tired of this. We're tired of that. We're tired of single moms not knowing if their baby's going to come. I mean, it's so much we're tired of. And this is what we need to form. So that unity, first, we have to be able to agree with one another before we can go in front of anybody, especially this government. You know what I mean? Because they'll eat us alive in the end. For sure. You know what I mean? It'll be so many spies within the party molding out everything, because there's no, a house, what they are, a house without no structure, something like that, fall, whatever. Well, yeah, what I found.
A house that I think falls from the outside can rebuild, but a house that falls from within.
Yeah. Exactly. And
how the battle against itself cannot stand.
Yeah, you're right. So we have to deal with us quickly. We have to deal with us in whatever means that is. those who, and here's the thing, what do you guys, I kind of toss that when you use the word leader in our community. You know, who make themselves the leader in Black community? You know what I mean? They just, because they go out and they'll do a lot of talking. I'm gonna be honest. I never looked at, I'm not gonna say names, but certain people's names who used to be out there marching a lot. We know who these names are. You know, I never looked at them as my leader. You see what I mean? They didn't speak for me. You know what I mean? So my thing is that we need to have someone who is the voice for every Black person, other than Yahshua HaMashiach himself, Jesus the Christ. You know what I mean? We do need someone who can form that position if they're going to deal in this Western society. If we're going to deal in this Western society with leverage, with some
and I think that's why it's important to get involved in local politics. I mean, I get it about the PACs and everything, but I've said this before, like, do you know, if you have a child that's in the Detroit public school system, did you vote for the school board? You know, do you understand the power structure there? Who are the decision makers? Who are the judges? You know, are you putting judges on the bench that you feel are fair and you know, can be sensitive to equitable justice? You know what I mean? And not lock up people for marijuana charges, which we know disproportionately in the city is going to impact young Black kids. Right. You know, so it's important for us to be civilly engaged, or civically engaged, in the politics at a local level, just as it is at the national level. So we can begin, like, for example, we should be present. Like, the next time your area has a town meeting about marijuana stores going up in your neighborhood, you should be there, and you should be voicing your opinion and saying, you know, either you want it, you don't, or should have these kind of conditions, because that's your neighborhood, you know, and the city council that zones different areas for different types of businesses, they need to hear from you. They need to know whether you want that marijuana dispensary in your neighborhood. And people are going to have different opinions about it, but that's how you begin to create change. Like, do we really need another liquor store on this corner? You know, because I can guarantee you, I went for a drive yesterday, and the people that's running them liquor stores, they don't live in the neighborhood. No, they live in very, very nice, affluent neighborhoods.
Yeah, most definitely. That's right.
And so the thing about the Black community, they're so busy trying to survive, where they don't got time to go sit up and try to say, I don't want this store in my neighborhood, I don't want this in my school. They trying to survive day by day. So that's where their mind has to come out of that. They have to get to a point where they're no longer trying to live day by day. Then they will want to step up. But I mean, I don't know.
That's where rapper refunds step in. I said rapper refunds. That's where reparations steps in, because it exactly that person who said they don't have time, if there is money, there's a release of some type of money, however it's structured out, but the money is available, that eases people's minds. So now they can focus on those things that is important within their community, because guess what? They can pay their bills now. They don't have to. And listen, I'm not saying that Black people are lazy and they need a rapid rate. They need a check in order for them but here's the thing. Do you know they say that Blacks make less than $27,000 more than whites? They make less. That's how much money less that they make. So what am I saying? That even in this, you don't have a come up. Equal balance would be if they did push out some type of money in whatever form of $350,000. Maybe that can bring us up to a level where we can be in the game. We can have our foot in the game, especially in our community. You know, especially in our community.
There was a study out. There was an article that I was reading. This was some years ago, where it talked about even okay. Let's say everybody went in a neighborhood and they all had, $150,000, $250,000 homes. Once so many Black people move into that neighborhood, there is called a tipping point. The values of those homes begin to depreciate. Just because you have a certain number of Black people that moved in.
Oh, really? I mean, wow, that's mind blowing right there. I didn't know that. I mean, you said just because it's. Oh, wow.
It's called a tipping point.
So, and the tipping point is what you're saying is based on African American.
Yes.
Wow.
That's statistically proven. Yes.
Wow.
So that's
structural racism.
So that's why
that's crazy.
Don't want certain people in the community because they don't want their stuff coming down. They don't want.
I'm trying to tell you.
But here it go. We make a 1.3 trillion dollars in purchasing power. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? Saying so. I don't. So it definitely tells you that. Yeah, that's why I said if you did it, you're gonna see Cadillacs on in every driveway if we would get the money. I'm just playing around when I make that statement. But so I guess guys, all we're saying is that racism does kill but structuralism, yeah. But I think because there's no. I won't say it's not there is some power. Okay, I'll say this and then I'll be done with it. Now, this makes you go, Remember the Arsenio Hall, they said things that make you go, This is one of those things that make you go, Listen, how can you have from Jay-Z, Beyonce, to all of these other millionaires and billionaires, why don't they form together their own, some type of party within that, all of that money, and say, hey, listen, we need to bring somebody, we need to put a party together to represent our people because we have the money to back whoever this candidate would be. Why wouldn't they do that? I mean, it's because I heard someone say, just like that there are white privilege, there's Black privilege. And what Black privilege is when white people support those Black people and put money in their faces and they don't want to bow out or they don't want to break away because they don't want to lose their own money. So there is a such thing as Black privilege as it is white privilege. So what I'm saying is that if we don't come together as one people and form a power, well, we could show that we are someone and we care about our kids. I shouldn't have to be giving a lecture to my son when he first learned how to drive or how to stay safe from a cop. You get what I mean? Or just save your life. You get what I mean? So, or anything such that nature. So we need to form power. Don't be fooled because you have Republican. These parties bowing down on one knee, wearing the kente cloth outfits, but yet they bow down on one knee. All these old folks on one knee for 8 minutes. You know they was in pain, back was hurt. But all I'm saying is that don't go for the okie doke. We don't need that. We don't need you waving and saying Black Power, Black Lives Matter. If Black here, and I'm not talking to I'm talking to the people out there, whoever see this. If you want to make a difference to say Black Lives Matter, do something within that community because that's how empower them, help them to become empowered because that's what's going to change and make a difference. When I was going to Wayne State, when I was at the health department, they sent us, we had to get like 8 weeks, a year of 8 weeks in this program because we had to understand about how to be sympathetic in communities and just, a lot of things, how to be an advocate and different things. And one of the things that I learned from the social worker that was there, it was Christina Beasley's mother. It was her mother. It was a real nice lady. But anyway, she said one thing. She said, if you want to empower somebody, you don't just bring them in your house and let them sleep in your bed and you just constantly feed them the food. To empower someone, you have to teach them how to be empowered. So they're gonna have to do it themselves. So all I'm saying is that that's what we are. That's what we are as a people. If you're going to empower them, Don't just say Black Lives Matter. Empower them. Don't just take a knee. Empower them. What can it be empowerment? Cut that $350,000 and put it in whatever you want to put it in. That's going to empower these Black faces out here if you put that money in their hand so that they can do better in their families and in their communities. If you want to help me out, that's what Black Lives Matter to me. You're going to, other than that, I don't care what you bend a knee. You could bend a whole lot of knees. You're not helping me out because you've been.
And you know, I think one of you guys did mention this, and again, me having confidence and some in love and belief in and me being hopeful with our community and our people. We have access is such a major word. And I was thinking about how we have access to a whole bunch of liquor stores in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Whole bunch
Way
of
too many.
But all the libraries are closing down.
Right.
Right.
Don't have access. There was a time when young people could walk to the library.
I went to the library. I walked to the library.
You know, you have one nice one in Southfield, 3 or 4 floors. It's open. It's nice.
That one's still open?
Which one?
In Southfield.
Southfield.
It's open certain times.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, having and us fighting, you know, we're battling in our neighborhood about should the strip club be open? Should they have some space? But none of us are fighting for the library.
Right.
Right.
And we're not fighting for the parks, clean parks where the children can go, you know, play.
Right.
And there have been some that have been popping up, RW3. There have been some that have been popping up in these neighborhoods.
What you mean, library?
Open green space, new playgrounds, because it's been statistically proven that open green spaces are part of a healthy community. You got to have some green space around for people to go out and play and do it safely. So, but you're right. I hope that those people in the community see the value in that and not the strip club or the liquor store or the marijuana dispensary. I quick want
to say, hey, Delight, I see you jumped on. We haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for jumping in. Eugene did say something. You're a leader, Tony. What's our first step? Also, he said exactly photo ops what the president just did.
You say what now? Who you talking
to? He said,
me?
when you were talking about a leader, he said, you're a leader. What's our first step? Then he said exactly photo ops, because recently, last week, the president walked across the street from the White House. Yeah, and cleaned, and they pepper sprayed folk so he could walk across the street, turn up a church with a Bible and take a picture.
Well, and I work my way backwards as well in terms of the president. Yeah, see, this is the thing to me, and I'm not gonna go there because I said I wasn't gonna go there. But hold on. But listen, what I'm saying is this: like I've always been saying, if anyone's been hearing me, this is all planned. This is just my personal. Listen, don't think that these presidents are as smart as you think they are. Or just do these things. It just randomly happens. This is all put together. It's a show. People, we have to understand what's going on. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be done with it. Joe Biden is no different than Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is no different than Joe Biden. They're the same person on the same team. You don't have to believe that, but that's the okie doke our people keep falling for. We think that this is about us and our vote that counts. Now, that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. In fact, I'm coming up with a new podcast called Just My Opinion. I'm gonna shoot it out there so you guys will know what all I talk about is what's just my opinion. You don't have to like it because it's just my opinion. But here you go. Here's the other piece of this. The other half to this is that, you know, we all are leaders. We all are leaders, whether we lead in our homes, as fathers, as mothers, as what we do in our everyday lives. The decisions that we make is garnered by a great decision. I mean, I'm not saying we're perfect people, but I am saying we all leaders in some type of way. Yeah, I'm a leader in my own community, in my own family. So, but I'm saying that, it's gonna take us just coming together as a people. Maybe you're gonna have to form. It always starts at grassroots, right? You know what I mean? Grassroots program. So you have to just form. I mean, you have to sit down and see what is it going to take for us to get something started. Maybe we're starting our own community. I don't know what that is going to take, but you definitely got to sit down. It's not an overnight thing. You have to sit down because it's so torn up. This community, it's just everything from the school system to, I mean, look at all of those. I don't want to bring anybody down, but I'm just saying that it's not an overnight thing. We all gonna have to come together, but we need to sit down and see what it is we're trying to do, and how to get and become great in our community. I'm talking about how to become great in our community, because that's what we need. So I mean, don't really have the answers right now, but listen, I mean, just like every last one of us, sit down and see what is it going to take in your community to become better, because it starts with us first. It starts at home first. United, and don't be so quick to be mad at the person at the corner store that you will pull a gun on them or whatever it is. Start thinking before we do. Say we need to stick together as a people. Stay away from those people that just ain't no good to you. I mean, it's just honest God truth. Stay away from those people so that we can focus on the people that we need to get next to that are positive and trying to do great things like this podcast. So what do I mean by that? If you subscribe to this podcast today, listen, we become a voice for you. You become a voice for us. We're working together as a team, but it's going to take you going to our YouTube page, subscribing. That's how we start. We start by subscribing so that we can build a people, a voice, and we can represent. And I guarantee you this, we will put people's feet to the fire. And guess what? And when we have a number of people on who subscribe here, we can go to the Joe Bidens and the Donald Trumps. And guess what? They will have to pay attention to us because the number is so great. And that's what I'm saying. So guys, listen, subscribe, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, like on this, share this page,
our web page.
Yeah, I'm about to say in our webpage, guys, you can also see our web. If you go to our webpage, it's up right now. That's right. You will actually be able to see this podcast live. So you will be able to see it live. And guys, we're going to be putting up information and resources of all sorts of things. We're still putting it together, but we want you to be a part. So first, subscribe, like, share, go to our YouTube, our Instagram. Guys, we're the voice for you. This is the round table. But we need your help so that it'll help empower us so we can get some of these clowns on this show and say what you want us to say. So that's it.
So thank you guys for tuning in, and check us out next week at the round table.
I think RWT was going to say something.
You got something to say?
He out. No. He said he out. All right. So we stay tuned. See you guys later. All right. Talk to you.